Okay, hi everyone. In this video, I'll be going through factorization by grouping. So this is worksheet 4 from the Sec 2 G3 Math. Okay, so before I go into this first, I just want to do a recap first. So let's go back to one very important question that you must know. What is factorization? Okay, you have actually learned factorization possibly even in primary schools when you learn, or secondary one where you learn this word called factors. So what is factorization? Let's say, for example, if I have this number 81, I factorize it, I can turn it into its factors. I'll get 1 times 81, 3 times 27, 9 times 9. So what exactly is factorization? We learned more specifically for algebra in Sec 2 is that I'm turning an expression into a product of factors. For example, we learned this in the previous worksheet. Let's say if I have a quadratic expression, x squared plus x minus 6. I can turn it into something x plus 3 times x minus 2 using either the cross method or the multiplication frame or the tic-tac-toe. Okay, so this is what it means by factorization. I turn an expression over here in Sec 2, an expression, a quadratic expression into something times something. Okay, so this is a very important thing you must learn, we must remember for now. So let's look at this work example over here. What is this thing called factorization by grouping? So what I want to do is that I want to turn, let's say, let's look at this work example. I want to turn these 4 terms into a factor whereby I get it in terms of something times something. Okay, a product of its factors, something times something. Okay, that is what it means by factorization. So let's look at how we can do that. What I'll do is that first I look at these 4 terms over here. I consider the first 2 terms first. So let me highlight over here. My first 2 terms are AB and positive AD. I consider these 2 terms. Any common letters from these 2 terms? I notice that A is common. So I will take out the A from these 2 terms over here. I'll get this. And I'm left with B plus D from my first 2 terms over here. Okay. Then now I look at the next 2 terms. I will highlight this and let me highlight this. So first 2 terms here, I'll get this by factorizing out common factor, which is A. Now I look at the next 2 terms. 2BC plus 2CD. Okay. And now I consider these 2 terms here. I have term 1 and term number 2. What are the common factors in these 2 terms? I see 2 that is common. I see C that is also common. So that means I can take out positive 2C over here. This sign here is very important. I'm taking out positive 2C. Okay. And now I'm left with, if I take out 2C from here, this third term, I'm left with a B. If I take out 2C from the fourth term, I'm left with D in the fourth term. So that's how I'll get this thing over here. 2C, and I'm left with B plus D. Then once I realize that, oh, I have B plus D, and this B plus D is the same, I can now group them together. I have now A plus 2C, I'll group them together into here, times B plus D. So this may be a bit confusing for you to understand. So this is why I'm looking into the next question now. From this word example, why does A times B plus D plus 2C times B plus D equals to this? So let's break it down. Let's recap what you learned in Sec 1 algebra. Okay, we learned that 2x plus 3x. What will this answer be equals to? I'm sure you know that this answer is equal to 5x. Okay, but now let's level up a bit. If I were to change, instead of x, I turn this x into b plus d. Okay, I turn this x into b plus d. What would now the answer be? If I have two groups of b plus d plus 3 groups of b plus d. In total, how many groups of b plus d do I have? Okay, I hope that you can see that in this case over here, it's similar to 5x. I will have 5 groups of b plus d. Okay, and now I level up 1 level higher. Instead of 2, I turn my 2 into A and this 3 into 2C. So this means that I have A groups of B plus D plus 2C groups of B plus D. So therefore, how many groups of B plus D do I have? The answer is simply A plus 2C groups of B plus D. That is why when these 2 terms are the same, I can group them together to combine them into this final answer over here. A plus 2C groups of B plus D. Okay, this is an important concept to understand. How come we can combine two groups if they have these same back factors over here? Okay, so let's now look at example 1. Okay, the steps are the same throughout, but we will usually try to rearrange the terms so that I can find common factors. So let's look at this these two terms over here. Okay, I have 12ax minus 6by minus 8bx plus 9ay. How do I factorize this? So over here, step 1, I will try to group the 4 terms into 2 groups. So I look at the first 2 terms over here, ax and by. I don't see any common factors, right? Any common letters. But I see, if I look at ax over here, I see that the third term here has a x. Okay, so therefore what I can do is to rearrange the terms. I can now rewrite the terms to become 12ax. Alright, this will become over here 12ax. I will shift this term containing the x in front. Okay, because it can contain the same letter. Minus 8bx. Then now I shift this term to the back. Minus 6by. Minus 6by plus 9ay. So now I look at the first 2 terms. I have 12ax and minus 8bx. I have a common factor here, which is x. Okay, and for my third and fourth term, I notice that I also have a common factor, which is a y. Let me highlight that. This y here is a common factor. So now I can now move on to the next step. Extract the common factors from each group. So the first group will consist of the first 2 terms over here. I take out the common factor, x. Okay, I'm left with... So over here, we analyze how if I take out x, I'm left with 12a over here. Second term, take out x, I'm left with negative 8b. Okay, minus 8b. Then now, I look at the next term. I take out a positive y. So therefore, you must write over here plus y. And now I'm left with, over here, instead of the y, I'm left with negative 6b plus 9a. Okay. Now, let's look at these numbers here. I can factorize this further by taking out common factors from the numbers as well. Let's look at 12 and 8. What is the highest common factor of 12 and 8? I hope that you can see it's 4. So I can take out another 4 from these numbers here. So if I were to factorize out a 4, I'll get 4x. And if I take 12 here, divide by 4, this will become 3a. Negative 8 here, divide by 4, I'll get minus 2b. Okay. Now, I look at these 2 numbers over here. I can also take out common factor. You can make a guess. What would the highest common factor of 6 and 9 be? Okay, you realize that it will be 3. So we can take out a positive 3. I'll get 3y. And in here, negative 6b will turn into minus 2b. And now 9 divided by 3 will turn into 3a. Okay, and then now we compare. I have 3a minus 2b over here. Here is negative 2b plus 3a. Are they the same thing? If you find it hard, you can always rewrite them. Actually, if you were to rewrite them, I will get 3a minus b plus 3y. I can rearrange the terms over here. This will become times 3a minus 2b as well. And you notice that, now these 2 factors are the same. 3a minus 2b, 3a minus 2b. Once they are the same, I have 4x groups of 3a minus 2b plus 3y groups of 3a minus 2b. I can now group them together to therefore get my final answer, which will become 4x plus 3y groups of 3a minus 2b. Okay, so if you notice that this one requires a lot of different steps, so you need to do it step by step and not make any careless mistakes. You can only combine them if these 2 factors at the end here are the same to get to your final answer. Okay, and the question here say, factorize it completely, so you need to cross-check. Amongst these 2 brackets over here, is there any number or letter I can still factorize further? And you notice 4 and 3, nothing in common. 3 and 2, no common factors in general. So therefore, this is my final answer to this question. Okay? Okay, so let's look at more examples to better visualize this. Okay, let's look at example 2 now. Example 2, 2a. Factorize the following completely. So first step, analyze the terms. I realized that first term I have PQ, second term RS, no common factor. What I should do is to probably rearrange the terms. So maybe I can put this 3PQ plus 3PR instead. Then now I have plus 7RS plus 7QS. Okay, now once I rearrange them, I check again. First two terms over here, are there any common factors? I notice that 3 is a common factor. I have P. P is also another common factor. And now I look at the second two terms, the next two terms. Any common factors? I see that I have 7 as a common factor and a S as a common factor. Okay, so next step, I can now rewrite this. First two terms, I take out 3P. I'm left with Q plus R. Okay, if you want to check if it's correct or not, if you expand out this expression here, you should get back these two terms over here. Okay, then now in my next two terms, this second group over here, I will take out positive 7S. Okay, and I'm left with, if I take out plus 7S, remember I'm taking out positive, so you must see this sign over here, plus 7S. I'm left with R plus Q. Okay, and you notice that is Q plus R the same as R plus Q? I hope that you can see that Q plus R is the same as R plus Q. So this means that I have 3P groups of Q plus R and 7S groups of Q plus R as well. Therefore, final answer to this question is simply, I have 3P plus 7S groups of Q plus R. Okay, this is for example 2A. Okay, let's look at example 2B now. Okay, so first step, we always look at the first two terms. Are there any common factors? Over here, I only noticed that 6 and 20 may have common factors, but the letters are completely different. So what I want to do is I can rearrange the terms. So 6ax, I will shift, let's say, negative 8bx in front. Okay, then now I have plus 15ay minus 20by. Okay, I rearrange the terms like this. So step number 1, we analyze first two terms, which is these two terms over here. Any common factors? I have to highlight 6 and 8. I can factorize out common factor, which is 2. Okay, I hope you can see that. Okay, common factor here is 2, whereas x and x are common factors. So therefore, for my first two terms, I can factorize out 2x from these two terms. Let's look at the first term. 6ax, I factorize out 2x, x will disappear. 6 here divided by 2, I'm left with 3. Okay, so first term will become 3a. Now I look at the next term, negative 8bx. Factorize out x, and now 8, I factorize out of 2, I'm left with 4. Okay, so this will become minus 4b. Now I look at the next two terms over here. Common factors, I look at 15 and 20. Yes, I notice that 15 and 20 over here, I can factorize out of 5. Okay, whereas for the letters here, I notice that both terms have y. So that means I can factorize out a positive 5y. So let's write out here, plus 5y. First term, okay, 15ay. Factorize out of 5y, the y will disappear. 15 factorize out of 5, I'm left with 3. So therefore, I'm left with 3a in the first term. And second term, this minus sign never touch, so it will bring down minus 20by factorize out of y and 20 factorize out of 5 over here. I'm left with 4. So this will become minus 4b. Okay, and therefore I now check 3a minus 4b. Oh, let me use a different highlighter. 3a minus 4b. 3a minus 4b, same terms over here. So this means that I have 2x groups of 3a minus 4b and 5y, positive 5y groups of 3a minus 4b. I can now combine to my final answer, which is I have 2x plus 5y groups of 3a minus 4b. Okay, this is for example 2b. Okay, so if you are fast, you can start trying example 2c and 2d by yourself first. You can simply pause this video. Okay, I'll continue on. Okay, so once you are done, you can continue this video to check if your answers are correct. Okay, so let's look at example 2c now. Example 2c, okay. Over here, I look at the first two terms. I have 3 HP and negative 12KQ, the letters are completely different. So what I can do, first step, rearrange the terms. 3HP, I can maybe have a plus, let's say minus, I can bring this term in front, H, right? I can bring this term containing H in front, minus 2HQ. Then from here, plus 18KP minus 12KQ. Okay. Then now first step. Okay, steps are the same. Already. I hope you can start to see the pattern. Step 1. Look at the first two terms over here. Find out any common factors. We notice that 3 and 2 has no common factors, but I have a H over here. H, which is a common factor. Okay. So therefore, if I factorize out a H, I'm left with 3P minus 2Q. Okay. Next one, I look at the next two terms over here. 18 and 12, common factor is a positive 6. So therefore, I can write over here, I know it's positive 6. I look at the letters now. I have K and K, which is common factor. So I can also take out a K. I'm left with 18KP here. Take out K. 18 divided by 6, I'm left with 3P. Next term over here, negative 12KQ. I take out a K. I take out a 6. From 12 divided by 6, I'm left with minus 2Q. Okay, then now I check. Are these factors the same? 3P minus 2Q, 3P minus 2Q. So means that I have H groups of 3P minus 2Q plus 6K groups of 3P minus 2Q. I can combine them together to become H plus 6K times 3P minus 2Q. Okay, this is for example 2C. Okay, let's now look at example 2D. Okay, 2D, now I can also look at this to see that, let's see over here, what can I do to simply factorize this? Can I consider this first two terms? I see that I have a y that is common, so no need to rearrange the terms. These two terms have y. I can take out y, I'll get d plus f. Okay, then the next thing over here, if I look at the next two terms, both have z. And one common thing you can also note is that both terms also have a negative sign. So therefore, this is different from the previous examples. Since both terms have a negative sign and also a z, I can factorize out minus z. And now, this is the tricky part. What am I left with over here? Okay, let's look at the first term. First term, I take out negative z. Negative z. I'm left with positive f. So this will become f. Now, second term, a lot of students will forget that they will make this common mistake. When I look at this second term over here, if I factorize out a negative z, what am I left with? It should be a positive d. No more negative sign because this negative sign is factorized out. So therefore, this will be plus d. Okay. Then now I check. Is f plus d the same as d plus f? And it is the same. So therefore, the final answer is simply, I can combine them together. Y minus z groups of d plus f. Okay, and this is for example 2D. Okay. Alright, so if you're okay, let's now look at example 3. Okay, example 3 over here, the question says, find the two factors of this entire expression over here. Okay, so the steps are the same in general. So what I want to do is that, let's look at this over here. We group the four terms into two groups. Okay, I have one group here, first two terms. Are there common factors? Let's check. These first two terms over here, I have common factor of x, and 6 and 9, common factor is 3. Okay, next two terms, I only have 15 over here, and here is negative 10y. Are there common factors? We notice yes, there are common factors. 15 and 10, common factor is 5. So how do I write this? We start by the first two terms first. Common factor is x, and 6 and 9, common factor is 3. So therefore, I can factorize out 3x. I'll be left with, if I take out 3x, this term here, I will be left with 2y. Then now minus sign will go down. Okay, minus sign goes down. I only factorize out positive 3x. Negative 9x, take out 3x. X will disappear, 9 will become 3. Okay, because 9 divided by 3 is 3. 2y minus 3x. No, minus 3. Okay, the x will disappear. 2y minus 3. Next one, 15 and 10. Highest common factor is a positive 5. So I'm left with, let's look at this over here. 15, take out 5, this will become 3. And then negative 10y, we bring down this negative sign, go down. Okay, 10y, take out 5, I'm left with 2. 2y. Okay, then now we must check. Is this 2y minus 3 the same as 3 minus 2y? Okay, I hope that you can see that they are not the same, because this is a negative 3 over here and positive 2y, whereas here is a positive 3 and negative 2y. So now you need to think, what can I do to make these two brackets the same? So actually a trick is that what you can easily do is that I want to turn this negative 2y to a positive, whereas I want to turn this positive 3 into a negative 2y. So what I can do is that I can factorize out a negative sign from this bracket over here. So if I were to factorize out this negative, this will mean that 5 will turn into negative 5, but the numbers here will all reverse sign. So that means now negative 2y will become positive 2y. I'll write the 2y in front. Then this positive 3 here will become negative or minus 3. Okay, so one key step over here, factorize out the negative sign. This 3 minus 2y, all the terms here will flip their sign to become positive 2y minus 3. Okay, and now I check again. Are the two terms, these factors, the same? 2y minus 3 and 2y minus 3. So they are the same. I can now do my final step, which is to combine them together. I will get 3x minus 5 groups of 2y minus 3. Okay, and this is the answer over here for example 3. Therefore, the two factors are 3x minus 5 and 2y minus 3. Okay, so let's if you can understand this now, we can now look at example 4. How do we solve the questions in example 4 using the steps? So the steps in general are the same throughout. Let's look at example 4. Okay, example 4, find the two factors of this. So I have 4 terms over here. So when I have 4 terms, I look at the first 2 terms over here first. Step 1, identify common factors between these 2 terms here. So over here I see that if I were to highlight, okay, over here I have 6 and 15. Common factor is 3. Okay, I have a x and x as well. So therefore this I can take out 3x. Okay, therefore what am I left with? 6xy. I hope you can see by now. Take away, divide by 3x. I'm left with 2y. Next thing here, negative 15x. Take out, divide by 3x. I'm left with minus 5 over here. Okay, then next thing over here, 20 and negative 8y. I notice 20 and 8. Highest common factor is 4. So I can take out a positive 4 plus 4. I'm left with 20 divided by 4 will give me 5. Negative 8y divided by 4 will be left with minus 2y. Okay, then now we check. Is 2y minus 5 the same as 5 minus 2y? They are not the same because the signs are flipped. I want to make them the same so I can group them together. So that means I will have to factorize out a negative sign from this bracket so that this negative 2y will turn into positive 2y. This 5 will turn into negative 5. So therefore over here, what I'll do is I'll factorize out a negative sign. This will become minus 4. Okay, and now the signs will change. Negative 2y, I can rewrite this to become positive 2y. 5 can turn into negative 5. Then now we cross check again. I have over here 2y minus 5 and 2y minus 5. Therefore, final answer I can group them together. I'll get 3x minus 4 times 2y minus 5. Okay, this is for example 4a. Okay, so therefore the two factors, we answer the question. Therefore, two factors of 4a are 3x minus 4 and 2y minus 5. Okay, this is for example 4a. Let's look at example 4b now. Okay, steps are the same. Okay, hope you can roughly grasp the steps by now. Over here, what we do, we look at the first two terms first. Identify common factors that I highlight. So over here, 6 and 9. Common factor is 3. I have A and A over here. So over here, I can take out 3A. I'm left with, so 6AB divided by 3A. I'm left with 2B. Okay, this minus sign will go down, minus. Then now 9AC, I divide by 3A. I'm left with 3C. Okay, now I look at the next two terms. I have 21C minus 14B. Identify common factor, 21 and 14. Highest common factor is 7. So therefore, I can take out positive 7. Remember, plus 7. What am I left with over here? 21C divided by 7. I'm left with 3C. Then now, negative 14B divided by 7. I'm left with minus 2B. Then now I check again. Can I group them together? 2B minus 3C different from 3C minus 2B. What I can do is that I want to make them the same. I can factorize out a negative from this entire bracket over here. Factorize out negative means that I'll turn negative 2B into positive 2B. Positive 3C will turn into negative 3C. So this will become 3A times 2B minus 3C minus 7. Now negative 2B will become positive 2B. Then positive 3C will turn to minus 3C. Then now last step I check. 2B minus 3C, 2B minus 3C, same thing. I can now group them together. I'll get 3A minus 7 times 2B minus 3C. Okay. Therefore, to answer the question, therefore, the two factors are 3A minus 7 and 2B minus 3C. Okay, this is for example example 4b. Okay, all right, so you are left with one last example, example 5. Two more examples, example 5 and example 6. Okay, so let's look at example 5 now. Example 5, factorize completely the quadratic expression over here. So what we'll need to do is that the steps are the same. Let's write out the terms first. 6x squared minus 9x plus 15y minus 10xy. So in case you have forgotten, x squared means x times x. Okay, maybe I write it separately so it's clearer. X squared means x times x. Okay, so over here, now let's look at how do we factorize this. I look at the first two terms first. Any common factors, I highlight 6 and 9. I know that 6 and 9, highest common factor is 3. Then now here I have x squared. X squared means x times x. Here I have 1x, which is common. So therefore, I can factorize out over here from the first two terms, 3x. Then now I check what am I left with. 6x squared, I take out 3x, I divide this, I'm left with 2 and 1 copy of x. Because if I were to multiply this together, I will get back 6x squared. Okay, next term here, negative 9x. Take out 3x, x will disappear, 9 will turn into 3. I'm left with minus 3. Okay, now I look at the next two terms. 15y and negative 10xy. 15 and 10, I can factorize out common factor, which is positive 5. And y can also be factorized out. So what am I left with? I can factorize out positive 5y. First term, 15y. Divide by 5y will give me 3y. And 3 just 3. Okay, just 3 itself. Then negative 10y. Divide by 5y. Y will cancel out. Instead of 10, this 10 will divide by 5. I'm left with minus 2x. Okay. Then now I check again. These two factors are not the same, so I cannot group them together yet. In order to make them the same, this is negative 2x and positive 3. I want to turn this into positive 2x minus 3. So I'll factorize out a negative sign over here. So over here, 3x times 2x minus 3. Instead of positive 5y, this will become minus 5y. Then this will become negative 2x will turn into positive 2x minus 3. And now I check. These two factors are the same now, 2x minus 3 and 2x minus 3. So I can now group them together to become 3x minus 5y times 2x, why did that disappear? 3x minus 5y times 2x minus 3. Okay, and this is for example 5. Okay, so now let's look at the last example for this worksheet, example 6. Factorize completely the following expressions. Okay, so you can now try yourself first. Once confident, you can now check my answers by letting this video play. But if you need some time, please go ahead and pause the video and finish up the examples by yourself. Okay, so let me quickly work this out over here. I can simply do factorization. First two terms here, 6a, x and x. Okay, and I have negative 3 and negative 3. Okay, negative 3 and negative 3. So by factorization, first one, x. The x squared, take out x, I'm left with x plus y. Next two terms, I can factorize out negative 3. Okay, and I'm left with x. Negative 3y, factorize out negative 3, I'm left with positive y. Okay, therefore, final answer in this case is simply, I can now group them together since these two factors are the same, x plus y, I'm left with x minus 3 times x plus y. This is for example 6a. Okay, let's look at example 6b now. Example 6b, I have this example here. Steps are the same. Look at the first two factors. Common factor of 15 and 20 is 5. W and W is a common factor. So this, I can take out 5W. I'm left with 3W. Then over here, negative 20W. Take out 5W. I'm left with minus 4. Now I look at the next two terms over here. 6 and 8, common factor is 2. Z and Z are common factors. I can take out a positive 2Z. Okay, and then now I analyze. Negative 6WX over here. I take out 2Z, positive 2Z. Z will disappear. 6 will turn into 3. I'm left with minus 3W. So negative 3W. Then over here, positive 8Z divided by 2Z, I'm left with plus 4. Then now I check, can I group them together? 3W minus 4 and negative 3W plus 4. Cannot yet. I must factorize out a negative sign from this factor here, such that this negative 3W will turn into positive 3W. This positive 4 will turn into negative 4. So over here, 5W times 3W minus 4 minus away 2Z. Then this will become 3W minus 4. Okay. Then now we check the factors are the same. Good, I can now group them together. I will get 5W minus 2Z times 3W minus 4. And that is the answer for example 6b. Okay. And now let's look at the last example for this worksheet. Example 6c, this is slightly more challenging. Okay, so let's look at this example here. X squared, y squared. Okay, so if we were to analyze it step by step. Okay, I highlight in yellow first. First two terms, x squared is common factor, and I have y and y. Okay, here is y squared, so I take out one y. Here I have a y here. Next one, I have, let's see. So, okay, let's do the first two terms first. I take out x squared y. Okay, first term, I have x squared, y squared. If I take out x squared y, I'm left with y. Second term, negative 5x squared y. If I take out x squared y, I'm left with minus 5. Okay, let's look at the next two term now. I have common factor x, and y squared here also y cubed. So I can take out xy squared. So plus xy squared. Okay, first term, if I take out xy squared from negative 5xy squared, I take out this thing over here. I'm left with minus 5. And now this thing over here, positive xy cubed. I take out xy squared. I'm left with just 1y. Okay, then now I check again. These two terms still different, but the signs are the inverted. Wait, let me check again. Y minus 5. Here is negative 5 plus y. Are they the same thing? So some of you that see this might get tricked. I did the same thing. If I were to rearrange these two terms, you notice that, let's say x square y minus 5 plus xy square. This term here can be rearranged to become y minus 5. And now I check, are they the same? Yes, okay, y minus 5 here, here is y minus 5. They are the same thing. I can now combine this to become x square y plus xy square, okay, times y minus 5. Okay, but actually if I do this right, this is not the final answer yet. Why? Because the question here says factorize completely. So if we were to check these factors over here, can you still find any common factors in this factor here? You notice that these two terms here have a x and have a y, right? I can still factorize this further. I can actually take out from these two terms x, y. So I can take out one copy of x and one copy of y. I'm left with x square y here. Take out xy. I'm left with a x. Xy square. Take out xy. I'm left with a y. Okay? And therefore, this is my final answer to this question if I were to factorize this completely to its final form over here. Okay? So this is the example. This is the answer to example 6C. Okay. So if you're okay, please go back and do the practice questions here. I think since we have covered quite a bit on worksheet 3E, okay, so for the practice questions, please do, instead of just question 1, because this will require quite some practice from you, okay, please try the entire question 1 and question 2. Okay, it will be good practice for you to master this concept of factorization. Okay, so this will be the end of this video.